Okay, this video is pretty important for you to wrap your head around because this deviates from how we've been doing things. And part of it is just a better workflow, but another part of it are fundamental changes to to Photoshop 2018 that kind of hinder our ability to continue to work as we have. So the first thing, we're working with the flattened image. And the cool thing about the flattened image is it's a much smaller file. And so we're not going to resize in the Save for Web dialog box. We're going to resize this image and save out a JPEG without saving this file. This file's already been saved at full size. So Option Command I, the image size, you need to know this. Come on. Bring this up. And we've been working with this dialog box like this. Now, I got to admit, I'm not quite sure when we were enabled to go full screen with the image size dialog box, but I'm not going to work in that little version anymore. And you can see there's been some grain added to this. I don't know if that's showing up in the video. But from right here, we've been working on automatic. And if we're downsampling, automatic, I believe, goes to bicubic sharper, which quite often adds harsh edges on what we're working on. But rather than changing it to smooth gradients, which is what I had been doing, I learned that Preserve Details 2.0 is a brand new feature that automatic never chooses. And this Preserve Details is great for enlargements, but I've found it works fabulous for reductions as well. So I am going to resize this large Photoshop file down to, and now the number I choose here, I could save out multiple versions, continuing to go back to this full size and saving out different versions because I don't want to save out a different version of a JPEG. You always want to work with the original. So 1500 is what I've been working on for Twitter. Now, I know on Behance you may work in a different size. Just plug in whatever number you want here. And if you were working on something the same size as mine, you would see it, I believe, at this size, because I'm working at a monitor on a monitor with 4 times the resolution that you have. So that's 4 times the size as this. But this Preserve Details, you go ahead and fine tune this, watch your edges, find the best fit for this. And once you do, then click OK, and we now have this demo flat at 1500 pixels. Let me get to full size. And we don't want to save the PSD. We want to maintain that large version of the PSD. So we're going to do, this is different, Save As. And this goes against everything that I've learned in the past. But the advice from Deke, which is not unequivocal, says this is a great way to work to provide the best JPEG possible, is just change this format from Photoshop to JPEG, and right there. And we can set up our quick export, and we'll probably do that in the near future so that we can do this in a quicker way. But this, for right now, for introducing this, notice that we're saving out. Photoshop automatically changed that extension. We're not changing the name, so we know this file originated from this. The one thing I would append to this file name is hit the right arrow and type 1500 so we know that's the size of our JPEG. And you can pick width or height if it's not a square. And click Save. Now, this secondary dialog box, I believe this opens up at 10, and it says maximum, but 10 is not the maximum. Crank it out to 12, and then change the format options. I believe baseline is the default. Change it to baseline optimized. Do not click on progressive. That's from the old slow web and dial-up modems and things like that. So there are the settings. Click OK. That's saved to JPEG. But notice, this is still a PSD file. This PSD file is smaller than the original. If we close this, Command W, do not save it, because if you save it, you're going to make your PSD file, that 5100 pixel image, 1500 pixels. And then this list view, I'm here because some of these names are truncated. And if you get to that where you can't tell, well, which file is which, just switch over to list view so you can see which one's which. And you can see we've got our demo PSD, our flat PSD, and because we didn't open up the JPEG, we don't see it here because we only saved out a version. Get that? Okay, a lot to chew on, but practice this. Get it part of your workflow so you're using the new Preserve Details 2.0, and who knows where Photoshop's going from here, but they're obviously adding artificial intelligence. Their Sensi is what they call their AI, and they're adding it into Photoshop. It's in Content Aware, and now it's in the image size dialog box.